Good morning, everybody. It's Monday morning here at this real time as we're recording this video. But whether you're watching us on Wednesday night or in the run up to Wednesday evening, we're here to talk about Tidings of Comfort and Joy. And this week, I'm joined by Julian Dingle from St. Thomas's Church and his selected carol. Before we start, I'm just going to allow Julian to introduce himself rather than me steal his thunder.
Hi everybody. My name's Julian, as Clive's just mentioned. I've been coming to St Thomas's Church since March, initially online, but physically I think when the church opened in June or July for public worship, and I previously worshipped with the Quakers for about 12 years, but I came to faith in the Anglican Church and have come back to it, and I felt very, very welcomed at St Thomas's, and it's like coming back home again for me. It's been it's a real joy to worship, yeah, it's just been so nice to start to get to know people, because I've been coming to this course, as you know, and it's been nice to start to put names to faces, really, even though we're online. So yeah, it's been lovely. Yeah.
Well, it's lovely to hear that explanation of how you've connected with us, Julie. It's a real blessing to have you here, not just in the session, but worshiping with us, and we feel as much rewarded by your contribution to these discussions as hopefully you're feeling rewarded in that sense. So, without further ado, we'll talk about your carol, your selection of Tidings of Comfort and Joy. Your carol is which one?
It's Silent Night, Holy Night.
Silent Night, Holy Night. So, an iconic German carol translated into English, which is equally iconic, I think, for everyone. Why did you choose it? What does it mean to you?
I think my initial impression of the carol is its sense of quietness and silence and reverence, and I think it's that appeals to me. I think even the tempo of the carol is gentle and almost like almost, I feel like a you can almost imagine it, the tempo being like Mary rocking her baby in her arms. It's that I think when you sing Silent Night, you feel very much quietened down. For me, I feel quietened down, centered and present and rested when I sing this carol. It's a lovely yeah, and there's a sense of reverence, I think, to this carol. You feel quietened down, and I say centered, you feel sort of quietened down within yourself when you sing it, and that to me is what feels very special about it. But the words mean an awful lot to me as well.
Well, before we get onto the words, so the way you've described it, there's a lot of different images, but it's doing something within you that sort of anchors you, or sort of, I don't know, hunkers you down and calms you. Yeah, interesting. Very, I say, very emotive the way you describe it. So lovely description. Thank you. So the lyrics then say something as well. Are there particular lyrics, or is it the whole set of lyrics? Or talk about that if you can.
Yeah, I think there's a number of verses that mean a lot to me. I think the first verse, Silent Night, Holy Night, all is calm, all is bright, and certainly the Silent Night, Holy Night is used as a refrain throughout the three verses, and I think those lines, Silent Night, Holy Night, have an awful lot of meaning to me. I think silence particularly, and as I just mentioned, I spend each day in silence for about half an hour, and I find God's presence in silence in a very deep way. And I think there's something about silence that's so special and so it's difficult to put into words, but very healing and very, very important, I think, to me.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think the church sees silence as a sacrament, but for me, it
Uh,
feels like sacramental. It's
yeah.
such a, it's full of presence, and I think silence is, a, when I go into a period of silence, I feel very close to God
Mm.
within me, and it's that's very, very important to me. And I think the other thing as well about the night time, holy night, I think the night time means an awful lot to me. I've always, I might be a bit weird, but I quite like this time of the year when it's dark.
Yeah.
And I love the night. And I remember going to southern Scotland, I had some friends there, and there
Mhm.
was no light pollution. And you looked up into the night sky and you could see so many stars,
Yeah.
and it was just amazing. I mean, unfortunately, in Salford, we have a lot of light pollution, don't we? So
Mm.
we can't see that as many stars as we'd like to. But I think when you look up into the night sky, you can't help but wonder what's out there. You feel that sense of mystery and that sense of eternity and
Yeah.
infinity.
Wow.
And silence for me, when I've been in times of silence, it feels like there is an infinite space that I cannot grasp. That's a mystery. But it's full of presence. It's
Mm.
empty, but it's full
Mm.
of presence.
Yes.
So it does have that sense of mystery and awe. And I think you have all that as a framework, if you like, around the nativity, around this virgin mother and child, and it kind of, you've got that, and then you've got the, well, that I was going to say everyday occurrence of a child with a newly born
Mm.
child, but in this sense it's very, very different because this child is somehow different, and it talks about, doesn't it, about the shepherds
Mhm.
quake at the sight.
Yes.
So there's a sense in which, yes, this is a child, but they're shaking. There's something about the silence, but the mystery of this child that's really significant, really.
Mm.
And um, I I don't know about you, but I love. He's a Franciscan priest called Richard Rohr,
Yes. Oh, yes.
and I love his books. I mean, he's
Yeah.
fantastic. I mean, gosh, yeah, absolutely amazing. And he talks about, and I think I, I, I got a tape of his about Advent. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it to you. Um, and he talks about, I think if you're a woman and you've had children, he says that women who've had children are more likely to understand what it's like to carry a child within them.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, obviously, I've never had that experience, but I think there's something about, there's a Quaker verse that talks about cherish that of God within you.
Okay.
And I
Yes.
love that verse because I think if you, faith is a gift, isn't it, to each one of us?
Mm.
And I think that you cherish that gift. I wouldn't. What makes me want to worship? What makes me want to seek God every day? And it's that gift of faith. So it's important to, like Mary did with the child, for me to sit in that silence and cherish the gift of faith that's already God in you. It's there.
So,
Um,
so you've got like not only spiritual, but almost a sense of a physical indwelling in you, even though from a from our um, ex- experience as men, we cannot understand that sense of the real indwelling of a child in us, but
yeah, yeah.
we can perhaps comprehend it by the sense of wonder and the connection with the infinite space and the night and the darkness, but also the stillness, and that just sense of wonder that is is manifest in all this.
Yeah, yeah. And there's something about this carol about that, it wasn't just a one-off thing. Um, Christ is born again and again and again and again and again in each of us every day
Yes.
in our life as we get
Yes.
to know this mystery
Yes.
that's God within us and around us. And I think it's that I think particularly this year, it's really meant so much to me, this that despite all the horrible things that are going on in the world that we're in at the moment, there is this sense of assurance and this deep indwelling peace that I think it's the greatest gift that you can ever have.
So
You know,
I'm going to challenge you then. Is that the answer to the third question? How does this carol bring comfort and joy to other people? Maybe would that be your answer to that, or would you?
yeah, I think that there is this sense of God's. I think God is with everybody. It's whether we can connect with that indwelling Christ, the indwelling peace of God. I think that is the ultimate gift
Mm,
that's with us now, but with us beyond life
yeah.
into eternity. And you kind of sense that by looking up at the night sky, but it's not just up there,
Okay.
it's here and around us as well. It's everywhere,
So you've almost got a cross image
Oh
going on there,
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
you? Up, down to us.
Up, down, sideways with each other. Um, and it's just and I think the one last thing that it leaves me with is it says Jesus Lord at thy birth, Jesus
Mhm.
Lord at thy birth at the end. And I think it kind of reminds me that God perhaps, well, God was present with us, well, present with me when I was born, before I was even conscious
Okay.
that Christ is before we were born and with us now. So that kind of speaks to me about Jesus at thy birth. That
Okay. Wow.
yeah, again, I mean that
No.
just takes me somewhere else.
Yeah. No. Well, that's
Yeah.
very powerful, isn't it? And it's almost like a greater um, sense of um, that connection with us, even beyond what we probably typically think of. God calls us by name, because that tends to create almost in some ways an image that God knows us once we've been named, or at a point which is slightly further on than maybe your description. That is almost like at the point of creation and coming
Yeah,
into this world. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd not thought about
yeah.
it like that. Yeah.
There's a you could spend hours just contemplating that, couldn't you? Really?
Yes.
There's a lot of
Well,
there's a lot there to reflect on. I think really.
well, if we think God is creator of something as big as the cosmos and everything within it, and God has a plan for us before we even know, that I think really resonates, or what you just say, that word Jesus Lord at thy birth, that really resonates with that in some way. Also, I think you're taking me off on a journey.
Yeah,
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 lovely.
yeah.
Thank you. Right, well, I'm sure we can talk further on Wednesday evening, or whether when this video goes out, I don't know whether it goes out before Wednesday evening or on Wednesday evening. But obviously Charlie will be interviewing people on Wednesday, so look forward to hearing more of what you've got to say. Look forward to joining you again on Wednesday evening. Thank you so much, Julian.
Yeah, thank
Lovely,
you. Thank
lovely.
you.